You are now listening to the Motown Sports Talk podcast. Here's your hosts, Jordan and Dalton.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Once again, we have another miserable Lions loss to talk about. It is getting rough. It's getting very rough. Even for the most optimistic and enthusiastic Lions fans like me, it's getting rough to try and stay positive or find any positive from that game. So the Lions lost 34-21 to the Minnesota Vikings this last Sunday, a game which we thought we might be able to win, even though Dalvin Cook came off a huge game.
You thought we might be able to win.
Okay, I thought we might be able to win, yes. Even though Dalvin Cook came off that huge game against Green Bay, I thought that we might be able to slow him down just a little bit, make Kirk Cousins pressured in the pocket and all that. But nope, it didn't happen. Exactly. I think we let up the most rushing yards in a game since the
2009.
Jim Schwartz era. It just looks terrible. It doesn't look like we can stop a Pee Wee football team out there, and I'm just getting very frustrated. We let another play happen of 10 men on the field, and it resulted in a 70-yard touchdown play to Dalvin Cook.
Patricia needs to be fired. Honestly, I would be fine with Bob Quinn being fired too, but I don't know if that'll happen. Now, I think if it goes into the offseason and Bob Quinn doesn't say, no, I don't want to fire Patricia, then it might just be Sheila Ford going, all right, bye, you're both gone.
Yeah, that's another topic we can get into here in another second, but back to the whole 10 men on the field, it just comes down to straight coaching. And it even said Lions safety Deron Harmon came out today and said that he is specifically going to count all the players on the field on every play until he feels that he doesn't need that he has to anymore. And that's pretty sad when your coaching staff, that your own players are holding themselves accountable for how many players are out on the field, which is supposed to be the coach's simplest job, just to have 11 players on the field.
Again, like I said last week, that just comes down to Patricia wanting to sub in and out all these guys at all these different times and throw in all these different schemes and all these different. It comes down to Patricia being too complicated for his team.
Mm-hmm.
If your team cannot do it, you have to dumb it down for them.
Yes, unfortunately. And again, we're not saying that the Lions players are dumb, but sometimes Matt Patricia tries to be the smartest man in the room, and sometimes he ends up outsmarting himself. And it's just sad. And it's like, again, as we mentioned earlier, me being the most optimistic Lions fan, it's just really, really disheartening because I feel like ever since we got Stafford and Jim Schwartz, I know that wasn't the best time, but we did end up improving. We did make the playoffs in 2011. We saw improvement. And I feel like ever since then, which obviously back in after the 2008 season when we went 0-16, that was just a complete blow up and rebuild. And that was the last time I thought the Lions were rebuilding. And ever since then, like I said, I feel like since we've had Stafford, we've always had a chance to win. We've always been able to come back late in games. We've seen it tons and tons of times. He makes comebacks all the time, but you can't live on that. You can't do that your entire career, especially you can't be surrounded by a bad team for 10, 11, 12 years. So it's just getting very, very frustrating. You can even tell in Stafford's post-game interview that he is just getting very frustrated, not just with the team and losing constantly and all this stuff, but with his family, the NFL, obviously how he was away from his team this week, or away from his family and team, basically being held up in a hotel room, being quarantined away. He's just, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Stafford retired after the season. And in some cases, that might just be a best case scenario. Like we said, if we are trying to clean house and start over. But I guess that's what I'm finally getting to is I think it is time that we clean house. We literally just sell everything. We trade, obviously, the trade deadline.
We do exactly what the Miami Dolphins did.
Yes.
Have these good veteran players, sell them to teams that are looking to add these veteran players, get first-round picks, rebuild this team, get first-round picks, and then honestly, like teams like players that are still on free agency that like nobody want. Like, I mean, shoot, look at them. They went out and got Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy's doing good for them. They went out and got Byron Jones.
Kyle Van Noy followed Brian Flores because he played under him in New England.
Well, still, they went out and got players, and they played a little bit more money for them, but on top of their draft picks and everything, they're working out perfectly fine. They just beat the Arizona Cardinals.
They
Tua
look to be
Tagovailoa is 2-0 in his NFL career.
Yes, the Dolphins look to be an ascending team, and same thing with the Tennessee Titans, who were awful for it seems like 10 years. They're finally starting to be on the up and up. Same thing with teams like Cardinals, who they're a team that was never really like bad, but they weren't good. They haven't been great for a while, and now they finally seem to be on the up and up. They've got some good young players. They haven't really been a bad team per se, but again, the Cardinals are a team that looks like to be on the up and up, and it just seems like the Lions have just been stuck in mediocrity for ever, it seems. And it seems again like second, but it goes back to the Jim Caldwell thing. And I understand, like, I don't know, it just seems different with Jim Caldwell. It seems like all the players loved him, they wanted him, they supported him. It was very clear that they wanted to play for Jim Caldwell. It does not seem the same. Yes, we've had a few players come out and support Matt Patricia. Yes, we've seen a few players talk about how smart he is and how good his defenses and stuff like that, but you just don't see that type of commitment that we saw to Jim Caldwell as well. And I know it was the same issue with Jim Caldwell. Yes, we won good games or yes, we won more games and it seemed like we had a winning record, but we still just couldn't get over that hump of beating the good teams. We couldn't beat the top teams in the division. We couldn't beat the top teams in the conference. It just seemed like any team that was over 500, we still couldn't beat. So it's just, again, I don't know even if it
But
comes down to
also, Patricia, in his 3 years as head coach against our division, went 2-4, 0-6, and is right now 0-3.
We haven't won a division game since 2008, which is pretty ridiculous. We still haven't even eclipsed our record for last year yet. We haven't won more games than we did last year, so we haven't seen any improvement or anything. And again, the team looks to have the exact same issues. We keep getting burned by the same thing, and that's another thing that's just frustrating with this coaching staff. There seems to be no adjustment. Like you and me.
The thing that sucks is when they were brought in, it was supposed to be they were to get us over the hump. They were supposed to be the ones to get us to the playoffs, get us winning playoff games. Like, these were the guys that were supposed to come in and bam. But that's not what happened, because then Patricia wanted to get in his guys. So then we had to do a whole kind of culture change and get rid of all these guys and stuff. And you just kept going down and down. And now that Patricia has all his guys, his scheme just is not working.
And it seems
the coaching staff sucks. They don't know how to call plays. It's like,
it's really upsetting to see, like, is it really Patricia holding back Corey Underlin and Darrell Bevel? Because look at what Darrell Bevel did last year with a second and third string quarterback. He still made our offense legit and competitive. Again, it was our defense last year that absolutely sucked. And it's just like the play calling for the offense looks like it's fucking Jim Bob Cooter again, or Joe Lombardi. Like, it's making me reminisce of those old days where it's so predictable every time.
And like, I understand that we have Adrian Peterson, but honestly, at this point, stop running him. Give the ball to Carrion. Give the ball to Swift. Let the young players play and develop.
And
I
so
mean, as of right now, the special teams is the best thing on our team.
that's what I'm saying. He's very creative, and he seems to be a very smart, young-minded coach. He's one of the, I think, the third youngest coordinator in all of the NFL in any coordinator position. So he's young and stuff. But look at Cliff Kingsbury. He's, I think, the youngest coach in the NFL right now too. But he's not doing amazing, but his offense seems to be progressing.
You need to have coaches that the players like, and I think that is the problem in Detroit. Yes, we have like players that like Patricia that we've brought in, but I don't think like the rookies coming in and like, even maybe Stafford doesn't like Patricia, but Stafford's obviously stuck here. It's not like we're gonna trade him or anything. So
Yeah.
Stafford's kind of stuck here. Like, and Stafford's one of those players. Like, he is not a very outspoken person. Like, he doesn't have any social media accounts. Like, nothing like that. So, like, obviously, you wouldn't know just from seeing him out on the field and his 1-2 press conferences a week that he does if he likes Patricia or not. Because Stafford's not like that.
You and me were discussing it during the game too. It's like, at what point does Stafford actually come out and just tell Darrell Bevel on how shitty his offense is, or Patricia, or whoever's running the offensive show? Like, because Stafford, again, as being a 10, 11-year veteran, 12-year veteran that he is, he knows what's going to work, what's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. So,
but also, as you Lions fans, you guys need to realize that Stafford is on the decline.
unfortunately.
I'm a huge Stafford fan. I have been since the day he drafted. So don't sit here and tell me I hate Stafford and stuff. I have been Stafford's #1 supporter. I love Matthew Stafford, but he is on the decline. Like, there was obviously the interception in the end zone, and then also not being able to see the middle linebacker drop on the second interception that he threw, or the first interception that he threw, because the second one was in the end zone. But still, like, Stafford is just, and his deep throws, they're just not on target. Like, that first throw that he threw deep to Marvin Hall, if he put that in front of him to where Marvin Hall didn't have to stop or slow down, that's a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But Stafford underthrew the ball, and Marvin Hall had to stop to let the corner catch up to him and was able to make a play on the ball for an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Stafford's making that throw perfectly. That's a touchdown. No questions about it. Stafford is on the decline. I think the injuries and everything else and all the hits he's taken over the year has finally got to him. And I think he's on the decline. And like Jordan said, I honestly would not be surprised if he calls it quits after this year.
Yeah, you have to question if that back injury really did more than just set him out for half the year last year, if that's really affecting his ability to throw the ball. And some of those 2 interceptions that he threw just seemed like rookie mistakes. Like, any veteran quarterback would have seen that and would have threw it away. And that's another thing too. He seems to be taking a lot of sacks instead of throwing it away or trying to get out of the pocket. And again, that,
or as he says, holding the ball too long.
yeah, is that, again, attributed to his back because he doesn't want to throw it away, doesn't have the speed to get out of the pocket anymore? It's just like, it's sad. And that's why I said, honestly, I've been the most optimistic. I've never really thought that we should be in a rebuilding process. Even now, we have so much talent that I don't feel like we should be in this position right now. But honestly, it's just, yeah, I think we should just trade everything we can get good assets for, get rid of everything, blow it up, fire head coach, and see. Bob Quinn's a question. I'm not sure if we should get rid of him. But the problem is, if we do keep Bob Quinn and get rid of Matt Patricia, what head coach is he going to try and bring in? Someone like Bill O'Brien or another Bill
That's what
Belichick
I'm
disciple?
saying. He's
So,
going to want to be like, oh, I want to bring in the Patriot way. Like, the Patriot way still works. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't work in New England without Tom Brady. It hasn't worked anywhere else. The Patriot way does not work. Honestly, I hope Patricia and Bob Quinn are gone. And I hope they never get another job in the NFL ever again, because honestly, they should not. Just like Matt Millen.
that's not gonna happen. They're both so young. They're both gonna get another coordinator, GM, or I don't know about GM, but Bob Quinn definitely is gonna get another scouting position or assistant personal director. Either way,
I don't think Patricia will get a job.
he'll get another coordinator position.
He lost play calling in New England the last year he was there.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't be a head coach, and he's the defense, but our defense is the worst thing on our team. This man does not know how to coach football, and he should not be in football. Go be a rocket scientist, mister.
That's another thing that's really frustrating about Patricia is every press conference he has, when they give him the tough questions or they give him the tough, what do you blah blah blah, what do you think about this? And every single week the same answer is, we need to coach better, we need to play better, I need to coach better, I need to do better, I need to come up with better schemes. That's all he ever says, but he never does any better. He never learns from his mistakes. He always makes the same fucking mistakes every time. So it's just, yes, again, we just need to blow up. But I do think we have a few great building aspects that we need to keep and we need to try and extend if we can't. I don't think Kenny Galladay is staying. I think we need to, again, with trade deadlines over, and maybe we franchise tag him, trade him to someone else to try and get something, and then they can extend a contract, do something like that. Because, and again, just to try and get something, or I don't know, but I just don't think Kenny Galladay is in the long term plans. I think Hawkinson is definitely going to be an all-star tight end in this league. Give him a few years. He's made a huge strides this year already in the league. I think Swift is going to be a huge thing. We just need to get a decent offensive lineman. Same thing with Taylor Decker. He's kind of been hurt this year, but he's still been able to play, and he's still looked good when he's in. So I definitely think Taylor Decker.
I believe he has not allowed a sack this season.
Exactly. And we just extended him for 5 years. So I think he is someone that we definitely need to keep around as well, because we've talked. I can't remember if it was you that we had this conversation with, but when it was the conversation between extending Galladay or Decker, I lean more towards Decker because Galladay was a third-round pick. I feel like it's easier to find wide receivers. There's so many that you can find late in the draft. Look at Travis Fulgham. I mean, I know we didn't keep him, but he's turning into an all-star in Philadelphia, and he was a 6th-round pick. So when it comes to offensive linemen, if you got a good
Antonio Brown was a 6th-round pick.
Exactly. So if you can get a good, stable offensive lineman, that's someone that you keep for a long time because they're going to be more important than a wide receiver that you can swap in with. I wouldn't say anyone because Galladay is a diamond in the rough. He is going to be an all-star wide receiver for a long time to come, but still, I just think he's too injury prone and he's probably going to demand too much money for us going into a rebuilding phase, which again, we still have Quentin Cephas who's only played limited snaps and we haven't even seen what he's able to do too much. So yeah. Another building block I think we need to keep is obviously Jeff Okudah and Awarrior. I think those are 2 really good young cornerbacks who are going to be great in this league. Give a couple of years.
Tracy Walker.
Yes, Tracy Walker again was I think a 3rd or 4th round pick as well, and he's done really good. So that's why again I think Bob Quinn hasn't made terrible draft picks, but he just hasn't hit on those all-star picks that you'd like to see perform in their first years, like our guys.
Look at Justin Jefferson.
Exactly. It just seems like it always takes our guys a little while to come in. And how many running backs? I haven't said it. I mean, I still think Swift is going to be an amazing running back, but how many running backs have we taken in the 2nd round that have not panned out, like Abdullah or Johnson? There's just so many that we think are going to turn around the season or be a great running back for the Lions. They all end up, I wouldn't say sucking, because Kerryon Johnson is one of the best the pass blocking. But yeah, again, I guess I'm kind of done rambling on. There's just a frustrating week.
I was going to say, there's nothing else I had to say other than Bob Quinn needs to be fired and Matt Patricia needs to be fired.
Unfortunately,
Stafford, I love you, but
we're going to have another episode later in the week where we do a little bit of injury update. Stafford was on the concussion protocol, but I'm pretty sure he's already been cleared off of that.
Gerard Davis has been activated from the COVID list.
Yep. So we'll have a little bit more to talk about. Again, we'll see how injuries play out this week, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk a little bit more about the Redskins coming up later this week and some of their
Washington football team.
Thank you. I don't know why it is still programmed in my brain, but yes, the Washington football team. We'll have a little bit more later this week. So thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate it, and we'll see you again next time.